we can all appeal to, that the three of us have tried to do, is like, what do we as human beings think is important?
A priest putting himself before God. What does he as a human being believe is important?
We both agree that there's absolute truth.
He states he believes and agrees with atheists absolute truth exists, but that he and atheists have completely different notions of what that is. He believes worshiping a God that demands absolute obedience and has, according to him, written that out for him allows him to question what is important. I question what is important, not him. If a preacher quotes a Bible passage to me and then starts a sentence with, "What that means to me is," I will cut him off and tell him to shut the fuck up. I don't care what it means to you. According to you, I'm nothing but opinion, and you're nothing but knowledge. So tell me what it means. Leave you out of it. Tell me what all Christians know God is saying. Because theists have no opinions. They have no thoughts. Your thoughts are given to you. The second you try to have an original thought, the second you stop being a robot, is the second you become me. You ought to follow the master's orders or pay the price. Man, according to the agnostic preacher, is subjective, is wrong in all things. A man that questions God is going to hell, according to him. What he believes is of importance is of no notice of God's, except that he has notions that are not God's. The agnostic preacher shows his true colors again. Atheists believe there is a truth that can be had. Preacher boy believes in a truth that has already been given. Evidently for him, the adage, "there's no turning back," doesn't apply. He's right that atheists and theists have believing there is an absolute truth in common. But according to him, my belief is subjective, and his is knowledge. And that's all I want to hear out of him is knowledge.
I can easily answer that question. I think Christians do more in terms of generosity and charity and giving than any other group out there. There's no way we can compete with that. And
Christians do more charity. They outstrip everyone else in the country in that department. They'd better outstrip everyone. They comprise 80% of the population. Many pockets mean more help. Who in the country outstrips everyone else in the heinous acts performed in this country? Why, when talking ratio of each population to prison inmates concerning atheists and Christians, do the Christians outstrip atheists? Why is the ratio of atheists in prison so low compared to their relative population as compared to Christians? Why do the most righteous suck? All this charity they do. All this helping people. Who are they helping? The people God placed in the situations they're in. Or didn't you remember that? Hypocrites.
Issue of science, and Jonathan, this looks like it'll be more for you. How do you reconcile your Christian faith with the scientific inaccuracies found in Scripture? For example, the ancient notion that heaven is located in the sky and that breath is an animating force.
The answer is simply that God was speaking to people who perceive the universe a certain way. So in a certain way, God was speaking to them in language that they understood. The Bible's not meant to give a full-on scientific explanation of how the world works in the 21st century science mindset. It's written to people back in ancient times that had a certain understanding of how the world worked.
Agnostic preacher claims God gave incorrect information to ancient people because they were too stupid to understand the truth. It told them demons caused disease and not microscopic organisms because they were at a certain level. They saw the world differently from us. I wonder how that occurred. When I was 9 years old, I was taught there is a hell where I would be tortured beyond belief if I did not believe in God. But I was too young to be told microorganisms exist. Adam, yeah, that Adam, was a clean slate. He had no notions of the world. None. He wasn't thinking about it in any particular way. His so-called notions from God were all his notions. God is simply an ignorant fool that didn't know the earth revolves around the sun, or that there wasn't a dome covering the earth from which it opened a celestial window to admit rain, or God flat out lied. End of story. Agnostic hypocrite will lie, cheat, and steal to keep his meal ticket afloat.
I think Christians are too quick to dismiss those objections, but if you think about it, Christians, we make historical claims. As Hemant pointed out, Jesus Christ rose from the dead. He did do miracles. There are miracles in the Bible, although I would argue that miracles in the Bible are a lot more rare than people would hold to. But because that's when God spoke through a miracle, it was to do a specific time, specific place. That's not normally how God has chosen to work.
Agnostic moron decides not to shut up when he's behind. Get this. Miracles are not the normal way God has chosen to work. I have only 3 things to say about this. God supposedly created everything, which means everything in existence is a miracle. you fool.
On what basis is your faith in science, as you put it earlier? And you said, well, because we know, because it proves things. But the question is fundamentally, how do you know that it's telling you what is true? How do you know that it's objectively true? And
Moderator wants to know how we know science is fundamentally true as he speaks through the microphone.
how do you know that it's objectively true? And one argument along these lines is if our perception has developed by evolution in order for our species to continue, that then the inherent bias in that development is for our survival, not to see things truly.
Moderator wants to join agnostic preacher on the dumb train. Evolution's function is to allow us to survive, not to see things truly. It's a good thing that his great distant ancestor roaming the African savanna saw that saber-toothed tiger as true. Too bad. We could appreciate the beauty of one less asswipe.
For our atheist friends, in light of what evidence would you change your minds and hearts? What would it take?
One of my favorite theist questions. What evidence would change my mind? I can tell you easily what evidence would change my mind. Evidence. If there were any, you wouldn't be asking, you'd be showing.